How you doing, family? We're going to continue in the workshop covering the book Spirituality Before Religion. And I may quote some statements or some lines from Jeremiah Camara's book that is right there, which is The New Doubting Thomas. Start out the way we always do. To know truth is to live truth. To know truth is to live truth. To know truth is to live truth. Okay, we're going to pick up where we left off with Brother Kaba Hiawatha Khomeini's book, Spirituality Before Religion. Okay, and that'll be on the top over here. Okay, I'm going to go back and start from the beginning and read something that I did not cover in the last opening. And before I get into this, I want you to understand that what I'm doing here is the reason we're getting into this history is so that when we let go of the Bible, when we let go of this Bible, you have to have something else to grab onto. Where the black community is right now, coming out of the enslavement and the segregation process, the younger generation who don't know anything about the enslavement process, don't know anything about their history, need to understand their history so they can understand the importance of foundation based on knowledge, facts, and truth. After being fed the lie from birth, it's in order to get them to believe the truth, you first have to validate the lie. And that's what Brother Jeremiah does in his book, is he systematically explains every aspect of the lie. And when you let go, as you begin to let go of the lie, I'm going to give you some reality and some truth of the human spirit and the human form and the development of the human form. Okay, but the goal of doing that is to get you to this part over here, which is the law of attraction, which is codified in this book, two books, both The Secret and Neville Goddard's, that feeling is the secret. And in his book, he puts a little more meat on the bones to what Rhonda Burns and Charles Hannell have established as the foundation for the giving you the explanation and the understanding of the law of attraction. Okay. What I want to do here with Professor Kaba is repeat what I ended up at the end of the last video with some words from Professor Kaba. And the reason why I'm doing this is to give you a historic foundation and to show you the black origin and the African origin of the human form, which is this flesh vehicle that we're walking around in. Okay? Now, what Professor Kaba does here is he's very meticulous about teaching you about the importance of language and structure and culture. And culture is about structure, which is going to teach you your history. Okay? He starts out by focusing on giving you the rules of uh, the structure, the African concept, and that come out of the African culture. Okay, and what he starts the title of his first page of his book is libation, a thunderous word from our ancestors. That's the title of this first page of his book. And he starts out by explaining to you some language, some Kemetic language. Kemetic is another word for Egyptian. The new modern terminology is Egyptian, but the original terminology, was the name for that landmass or that country, was called Kemet. All right, so the language of the people of that time and in that region was Kemetic. All right, and the language that he's using here is the first two words he's going to introduce us to is Tep Heseb. Tep Heseb. Tep Heseb is a Kemetic parentheses Egyptian term that can be translated to mean. Okay, so Tep Heseb is a Kemetic or Egyptian term that means an accurate reckoning by using a by using a correct method. Again, Tep Heseb means an accurate reckoning by using a correct method. It is mentioned in the Rhind papyrus. The Rhind papyrus. Rhind is spelled R-H-I-N-D, papyrus. The Rhind mathematical papyrus was found at Waset. Thebes is the name of that land. Waset is the original name. We called it in modern time Thebes. Thebes. In Kemet, which is Egypt, in Kemet. So in other words, Rhind mathematical papyrus, the Rhind mathematical papyrus was found at Waset, which is Thebes, in Kemet, which is Egypt. It was purchased by a Henry Rhind, and it was purchased by a period Henry Rhind. I don't know what his first name was. And after his death, it went to the British Museum. It is a copy made by a scribe named Ahmose, Ahmose, who states that it is a copy of an older document written during the time of Nesser Beti, which means Pharaoh. Amen M Bet. Amen M Het the third, an African Neset Beti, an African pharaoh of the Middle Kingdom. And get the time here, and this is something I want you to learn about time. The year that he's talking about is 2065. In other words, the reign of this pharaoh was 2065, and that means it was several of his what's the word for his the children, that inherited his throne. Can't think of the word right now to come to me. Okay, but they reigned from the year 2065 to 1784 BCE. Okay, which means before the Common Era, BCE. But notice the timeline. It went from 2065 down to 1784. So at that time, for before the Common Era, they make a delineation between the before the Common Era. So all of time before the Common Era counts down. So we're going from 2065, which is just happens to be the reign of this particular of Pharaoh, or in Egypt, okay, and it goes from 2064, 2065 to 1784. Okay, so that's approximately, I'll calculate the exact amount of time, but it's going down. It's just under 300 years. Okay, it's about 300 and about 280 some odd years. Okay, was the reign of this particular pharaoh, BCE, which means before the Common Era. Okay, it was written in hieratic characters on a single papyrus roll, measuring 18 feet long and 13 inches wide. The papyrus sheet contains 87 mathematical problems with solutions. Now, an African Neset, an African pharaoh, back in 2065, had a papyrus that confirmed and validated that Africans' mastery of mathematics. 2065. From there, 200 and almost 80 years. That's when this was written. Long before any of this foolishness in that Bible wasn't even written yet. Okay? They didn't get that together until 1400 or 1200 or some old nonsense after the delineation AD. I'm telling you about something that's 2,000 years before they even wrote the Bible. So see right there, the lie. The big lie. The perfect lie. So perfect, the truth is unbelievable. And that's what Professor Kaba talks about, both here in the book and when he does his lectures. The point he's trying to make is he validating the fact that it's a perfect lie. Okay, you gotta understand it. So I'm telling you, throw that Bible out. You have to force yourself to throw the Bible out, because the information I'm giving you is long before that thing even came into existence. And all the information in here has been validated by nearly 10, 20, 30 scientists, archaeologists, and different types of ologists who have researched this information, both with artifacts and historical research, to validate the truth of what really happened. Okay, and that's why I wanted to read this to you and to give you to show you how deep these folks were back then. And you got to understand, there was no television, there was no radio, there was no electrical computers and communicating. Everything had to be written down and in continuous sheet, and there was no rewriting. You had to write it correctly the first time. Okay, practice on the side, but when you went to the scribe, you had to get it right the first time. And they had nothing but time on their hands, but there was no TV, none of that stuff. So their level of focus is beyond your comprehension at this point. You can't even imagine what life would be like without a television, without a computer, without a cell phone. You know, you got to understand that when people had that kind of focus and time, it's a totally different world. Okay? He goes on to say, to understand the various types of Kemetic, which is Egyptian, writings in Africa, it is important to know the 4 different forms of script. Okay? And the 4 different forms of script were hieroglyphics, hieratic, Hieratic, demotic, Demotic, and Coptic. Okay, hieroglyphics, number 1, was used in formal writings such as temple and tomb inscriptions. Hieratic, a more cursive form. Both of these forms appear in Kush before the beginning of Kemetic. So before Egypt, the land, the region that they were talking about was named Egypt or Kemet. The history of it before that was Kush. That was the name of the land, the Kushites. And I've seen the name of those people used in historic. And when you look at the destruction of black civilization with Chancellor Williams, and as well as civilization and barbarism with Sheikh Anta Diop, all of this is going to be repeated over and over. Okay. Now, demotic was for everyday use by the average person. These are the different types of forms of writings, okay? And Coptic was the Egyptian language utilized by Greeks, by the Greek writing system, another form of an African script, okay? So the Greeks were writing in a form that they got from Africans. African. This is the truth that was hidden from you and replaced by the lie. Because once you realize that you are the original people, see, now they can't run jive on you because you're empowered by the truth and the realization that you were the first people. See, they can't sell you on enslavement and some Bible crap about Noah and Ham and he didn't cover him up when he was drunk or some old nonsense, just fairy tale to buttress the lie. Why? To break your spirit and make you feel less than. Why? So they can get you to believe the lie. And it's not your fault. You got to understand. You were born into a lie. Your mama, your daddy, your granddaddy, everybody around you repeated the lie. Not your fault. Not their fault. I got a poster up there where this the slave master was sending one of the Ku Klux Klan, that is the people who now become the Ku Klux Klan and now become the police force in modern society today. In the beginning, they were the overseers who helped the slave master keep the enslaved Africans in control so he can get them to work for free. It's all about money. It's always been about money. Okay? But in order to get you to work for free and so they can make that money, they got to break your spirit. They got to lie to you. And then after they traumatize you and terrorize you and brutalize you, they give you the Bible, the big lie. So now they broke your physical spirit and then they're going to enchain and enslave your mind with a lie, the perfect lie. Okay? So we're going to dispel that lie and replace it with the truth. Okay? And Professor Kaba gives you this verbiage to give you the background so that he can explain this to you. Okay? That the scribe Ahmos explained the accurate reckoning by using the correct method was the entrance into the knowledge of all existing things and all obscure, mystical, and unknown secrets. Okay, again, the scribe Ahmos explained that accurate reckoning by using the correct method. Now he has that in bold writing. Accurate reckoning by using the correct method. See, I'm not going to rush through this. I'm going to take my time and I'm going to read the words to you clearly so you understand. We're not going to rush through this. We're going to take our time, and I want to make sure you get it pure, straight up, no chaser. Okay? Both barrels. Accurate reckoning by using the correct method was the entrance. That statement, what Ahmed is telling you, was to explain that the accurate reckoning by using the correct method was the entrance into knowledge, into the knowledge of all existing things. So in other words, he's telling you this is the method and the tactic and the approach to understanding and gaining knowledge. This was your attitude that you had to have toward understanding knowledge, facts, science, okay, of everything that has come before now at that time, okay? And this is the way to gain that knowledge. And once you have that knowledge, you put it into practice and you apply it in your life and use it to empower and control everything that comes into your life. That is the process of wisdom. And taking knowledge and applying it is called wisdom. Okay? He goes on to say, and this, by using accurate reckoning, by using the correct method, was the entrance into the knowledge of all existing things and all obscure. So all the things that exist and all the things, obscure means all the things that were hidden. Obscure means to hide. Okay? If I want to block or what's an example can I use of the word? I don't know if you've ever heard the use of the word obfuscate. It means to redirect, keep you from focusing on. So obscure has that OBS, obscure, to obscure and obfuscate. In this case, obscure, this means to it was the entrance into the knowledge of all existing things, and in addition to the entrance of the knowledge of all existing things, it also gives you all the existing things and all obscure and mystical are the things that are almost magical but unknown. But with this, they're explaining to you the approach, so how you will be able to comprehend the things that were obscure up until now, until you had that knowledge. But once you get that knowledge, those things that were obscure will now become revealed to you. You will be able to understand and comprehend what those things, how those things were done. Okay? And all the things that were mystical will not be mystical, they will be revealed. You will understand how those two Those things also were done. And the unknown secrets. There are other secrets that up until then, without this approach, you would not know. Okay? See, you gotta understand. You were born, I'm not gonna go do no more of this. I wanna talk to you a little bit about some of this stuff. You born into a society that's so complex at this point. We're talking 2,000 years ago. Now, time impacts the form because every time you're born, you start all over again. You almost forget everything you knew before you were born. All the stuff you knew in your last lifetime is gone. You have no way of regaining that knowledge unless you tap into your essential self deep. And the reason I use the word deep is because up until now, if you're 15, 16, 17, 20 to 27, or even 30, you have been brainwashed and desensitized and trained mentally not even to be able to pay attention. So if you're still watching this and you're paying attention to what I'm saying to you, okay, then that means you're on the right track. At least you have the ability to focus and pay attention. You don't know how valuable that is. Most human beings forget about race. Can't do it because you were trained, born into a system that trained you to not even be able to pay attention, not beyond a few seconds, 30 seconds, maybe a minute. You might be able to eke out focusing in one direction for a single minute. And the television trains your mind subconsciously and consciously. Emotionally, on so many levels, it boggles the mind. You won't know until you step out of it. And that's what Eckhart Tolle teaches you. Eckhart Tolle teaches you how to disconnect from the form because everything that they've done impacts your form first and goes into the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind don't care. It just repeats and replays what you've sent in there. And these folks are mastered at manipulating your subconscious mind. And you so ignorant and so disconnected, you don't even realize what has happened to you. Okay, you won't realize it until you're forced to realize that you are not your body. And most people are lucky, if they're lucky, they'll wake up before they kill themselves. Because so much goes wrong sometimes that they're just overwhelmed. And the overwhelming ignorance can create such anxiety, and it depends on what level of trauma you have been exposed to. So we got a lot of work to do. Okay, if you have not been raped, brutalized, traumatized, or while you were getting surgery, somebody said some off the wall negativity, your subconscious was exposed. They don't even understand the importance of maintaining a spiritual, harmonious, and righteous environment when your subconscious is exposed. The people that are doing surgery, if they're extremely professional, they will just basically remain quiet. That's the best thing they can do while your subconscious is exposed. Because when your body is disconnected from the spirit, the subconscious is exposed. Okay? And then most of them are not trained to even know that. They're so busy dealing with the minutiae and the details of conducting the operation professionally and making sure they're not leaving anything out and making any mistakes. They're not even trained in the medical schools about any of the spiritual the spiritual culture that every human being has. Most of these medical people are so untrained on that level that they're totally unaware of what they're doing. There is so much miseducation going on that you were born into that you have. I'm saying all this to say so you understand that a lot of the stuff that happens to you that is traumatic or that creates what Dianetics talks about is engrams and sowing seeing things into your subconscious that play back repeatedly. And so that's a whole nother understanding and science that a lot of these miseducated people who are doing surgery on you while you're unconscious and your subconscious is exposed, they don't understand the damage they're doing. And a lot of people will come out of those things, they'll feel fine for a while, but something can happen and it would trigger, a the reactive mind, as they say in Dianetics. So that's a whole nother thing you need to understand. But for those of you who don't have these experiences, you can bypass that and focus on the law of attraction, which is feeling is the secret. And Rhonda Byrne's book, The Secret. But this is the feeling is the secret, and Rhonda Byrne's book, The Secret. I want you to do that anyway. Start reading that at the same time we're going over this. Okay? At the same time, I'm explaining to you the mechanics, which is what my book is teaching. And I want to talk about my book, the importance of my book. My book does not, it takes the information from Professor Kaba, the information from Tommy Curry, the information from the sister Joy DeGray, okay, and the information from sister who did the melanin conference, Dr. No, her name is up there. We spoke about that in the other movie. I have a lot of thought drifts sometimes. And that's something that I want to also talk about before I get into my book, is that, see, there's certain things about my person, the vehicle that I was born into. Now, there's certain, see, I'm very good at certain things, and with a lot of us, we can't remember everything, every detail, and every name of every person. Don't let that throw you off, because I've mentioned Dr. Frances Cress Welsing in my other videos, so I may not necessarily call her name because my focus has moved on to something else. And the flesh form, my vehicle, it has limitations, and that's just the nature of my vehicle, and I totally accept that. But I don't allow it to affect my self-esteem and my pride, and not pride, but my confidence in the truth that what I'm relaying to you. See, that nothing impacts that. Eckhart Tolle teaches you how to let all of that ego stuff and pride and all that stuff, teaches you how to let that go and function out of essence. Okay? Does that mean you're going to speak perfectly all the time? No. Because a perfect being is trying to speak to an imperfect form. That's just the nature of the dynamic and the interface between perfection and imperfection. Okay? That's what's going to happen. You're going to misspeak some words, but don't let that throw you off. Stay focused. Stay focused on what I'm trying to give you and value what I'm giving you. Don't get into this petty stuff that comes from the television. See, they have your mind trained to do all of these mind games to keep you from focusing on becoming the master that you're supposed to be and taking charge and making manifest what you want in your life. And that's all that's important. That's all this is all about. These workshops and all this history and everything I'm giving you is about making you the master of what happens in your life. We're not giving the responsibility over to Jesus, the pastor, the Catholic Church, none of them. No religion at all. You're God having a human experience, and that's all you need to know. And be about mastering these skills here of getting what you want in your life, building a financial base of passive income for you and your family. Money doesn't matter, but it's important to build a financial base so you can be about the business of living your life. Okay, that's what it's all about. I want you to have a more fruitful and more controlled, a happier and healthier life. And in order to do that, you have to remove the cobwebs. You have to remove all of the identification with form and all the erroneous zones, as Dr. Dwayne W. Dyer, one of the first books I read. And the erroneous zone is this identification with your flesh form, and the different engrams and things that come through trauma and different things that have happened to you in your life that are not real, but they're subconscious. Your subconscious machine is playing them out because it doesn't care. It just replays. It does what you give it. And if you've been giving it repeatedly things consciously or subconsciously, it doesn't care. It just does what it do. And see, my job is to explain to you that it is there. And you may not even be a victim of it. And you may be lucky enough or fortunate enough to not have been traumatized. And so you don't even know what I'm talking about. But there are other people who find themselves addicted to drugs, and they have an addictive nature because of the person that they were born into. Like my family is extremely addictive. We have an addictive nature. And that's because of the trauma that my mom and her mom's mom, my great grandmother, and the trauma and things that they have gone through that have been passed down through the whole enslavement and the segregation process. To this day, we don't do it anymore, but in my generation, physical corporal punishment was normal. Brutalizing and tying people up by their hands and whipping them, they got that from the whole enslavement process. And once 1865 came and slavery was ended and all enslaved Africans were emancipated, which means freed, they still had the same habit. They didn't know nothing else but that. And they were never given any Dianetics or no kind of psychotherapy to help them get over the trauma of hundreds of years of brutality, and then another 100 years of mental trauma. Of mental brutality is almost worse than physical brutality because it's deeper. See, physical brutality can be stopped and the wounds can be healed, but the mental wounds that these mutated Africans that we call Europeans and Eurasians and white folks, they didn't even know how to do. They were brutalizing their own people. So they certainly weren't even thinking about trying to help the enslaved Africans, that they wanted to keep them subjugated. Even though they're physically free, they wanted to keep them mentally subjugated and in a second-class citizen status so they can get all the goodies. They don't want to share it. They didn't want to share it with the enslaved Africans. They themselves were brainwashed into actually believing that they were better than those people, even though we were the first humans on the planet. They were not educated about that. And the powers that be made sure they weren't educated. And the lie was perpetuated on them too. And to the point where they helped perpetuate and keep black African Americans down, Africans down, because they didn't want to be on the bottom. Can you blame them? After they saw what they were doing to us, could you blame them for not wanting to volunteer for that? I don't blame them. It's quite logical, you know. But I want you to have the context. I want you to understand the human spirit, the human flesh vehicle is still in the evolutionary process, and all these machinations and all these stories and all this stuff that has happened. You got to understand, we still making sausage just as a human family. So you got a kabuki doll inside of the Christianity kabuki doll, inside of the this enslavement kabuki doll that was put on the African Americans, and the subjugation kabuki doll, and the white folks that participate in that day and another hypnotic brainwashing, a brainwashed mentality as well, and that's combined with their own self survival and their terror of being us. They had a choice. Either they could help them subjugate us, or that could be them down there. And believe me, that's terror. They see what happened to us. You want to talk about terror? Oh, you better believe it. They want to hurry up and keep you down, keep your people down, so they won't be them. Can you blame them? Okay, so you need that background to motivate you, so you understand what's going on, why the police feel like it's okay to murder a black man, especially the black man, because he has the penis, okay? And every time that penis ejaculates into any vagina on the planet, the child that is born will be black. I don't care what vagina they put it in. That child will be black. And since the Eurasian, the mutated Africans, are terrified of a phony belief of their existence being wiped out, when in actuality, what's happening? They're going right back to what they were before they crawled in the caves. Black, like everything else on the planet. Black is what everything on the planet will ultimately become after another 1,000 years or so of being out in the sun, if they're able to do that. Because we're the first people, and that's how it always was. So they're just going back to what they already were. And if you look in the DNA, everything will be validated. Okay? So again, I want to focus on now being aware of the difference between reacting to things that happen in your environment, which is going to trigger thoughts. And I want you to, and I mentioned this in the movie before last, I want you to practice projecting thoughts. I want you to spend your mind time spending more and more, minute by minute, in every day, focusing on what you seeing yourself already having, by projecting a vision of yourself having. In my case, Tesla is my latest mission. Hitting the lottery is my latest mission. When I was younger, my latest mission was to have a brand new car. I used to fixate on Lexus. That was my thing, because my person that I was born into is a mechanic and a technician by trade, and science and electronics are the trade and the thing that I am designed to do. And so that's what my person is driven towards. Always vehicles, cars, electronics, cameras, anything to do with mechanical, electromechanical devices. That's what I am designed and to be attracted to. And that's what my focus is. So right now, my new automobile focus is Tesla. And Tesla is far more than just an automotive company. It involves a whole green movement and a sustainable energy movement that I have evolved into and find an extreme passion uh, almost equal to, which is my love of saving the planet for the younger generation, and it's almost equal to my love of the truth and history and my fascination with how life works, which is a mechanical, scientific, electromagnetic thing. So it's in keeping with the character of my form that I was born into. So the whole thing is coming full circle now, okay? And I'm explaining to you how I'm living. And in my living, I'm living the truth that I'm explaining to you. And so now you know where my happiness and my joy comes from. All of this detail that I have only scratched the surface to try to explain to you what I've been doing for the last 45 years. And it validates and helps you to comprehend why I have this optimism, why I'm so confident and so secure in my beliefs and my knowledge and my wisdom of life and existence and how this whole thing works. And all I want to do is teach you so you will have the same comprehension, knowledge, and understanding, and ultimately wisdom that will last you your lifetime, and you will pass it on to uh, your friends and your family and your children. Okay? Wow, it's amazing how fast I go to 45 minutes. Okay, so I want to make sure I cover the base, and one of the things that I wanted to cover in this video was bring it back to the essential self, the essence, for a moment. That you understand the difference between the totality as God, having a human experience, the verbiage and the vocabulary that you need to understand. And I want you to have a clear distinction and comprehension of the difference between consciousness, which is God, and me, the microcosmic being that is conscious that I am, that I am a microcosmic being. See, and only a microcosmic being can be conscious. Conscious is the same as being aware. Aware of what? Aware that I am a microcosmic expression of God, having a human experience. That is what being self-actualized is. In order for you to be self-actualized, you have to become aware that you are a microcosmic expression of God that is consciously aware and awakened to the essence of what I am within the body politic of ourselves as God. Okay? And that awareness is the essence of my freedom. Because once you are aware and you know this in through your living, then automatically freedom, happiness, and joy are automatic. You are empowered by the truth of what and who you are. And once you understand that, now you clear. Your mind is clear to focus on manifesting the things you want in your life. Why? So you can experience life and be happy. If that's what you want, then that's what you will have. It's as simple as that. And once you understand the mechanics of how this works by using the law of attraction, the rest of your life is spent validating that repeatedly, moving from one goal to the next goal. And see, for me, my goal of hitting the lottery and, well, the Tesla is personal. That's for my person. And that's another thing I want to explain to you. That's what my person is motivated, and it's been this way all my life. Excuse me. And so I accept that that is what I am. This is what my person wants. And that is my place at this particular point in existence. And I accept that. And I didn't mean to say that's what I am. It means that I like to be balanced in everything that I do. So there are things that my person wants, and there are things that my essence wants to experience. Okay? My person is functioning more out of instinct and reactive mind. Okay? The thing I want to convey to you that you must learn to control is to balance what your essence wants to accomplish in this lifetime, and to have clarity of mind and judgment and mission, okay, and purpose, and clearly understand the distinction and difference between the two. My form and what it desires, and the way it is oriented, for lack of a better term. I'm very utilitarian. I'm mechanical. I like, there's certain things that my form likes and is satisfied with. And my form doesn't always get what it wants, because I'm using moderation in all things. My essence doesn't really need anything because it's already perfect. But I'm here to experience life for God, because God set all of this up. There is too much structure and order for there not to be a overriding principle of order and structure that is holding all of this stuff together. And when people ask me, do you believe in God? Absolutely, because that's like saying, do you believe in yourself? Now, if you don't accept the concept that you are nothing but the same spirit that I am, functioning out of a different body, that your mother gave you a different name, Shakira, uh, 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 whatever your name is, that your mother or your father or your parent gave you. You are nothing but me, the same spirit, having a different function, coming through a different vehicle. There is only one God. There's only one universal spirit. Now, the micro cosmic spirits are unique and distinct, but they are tapped into the same universal spirit. But in order for God to have this human experience, God had to create a structure, a hierarchy, levels. That structure, the single thought, the singularity, created all of this structure. I believe that. That's my belief. I'm not forcing you or demanding you to believe anything. I'm just sharing with you what I believe, and sharing with you the cultural, the spiritual cultural background that I'm functioning out of. This is part of my principle and my belief system, my culture, my spiritual, cultural belief. Okay? Now you can do whatever you want. We're free to be and do whatever we want. I'm not going to threaten you that you're going to go to hell if you don't believe the way I believe. I don't need to terrorize you into doing whatever I'm doing. I don't even want that. I want you to be different from me. I like diversity. I like difference. I want to discover something different than me. I like that. See, because I'm functioning out of pure, essential spirit. See? So there's nothing about you that threatens me because I'm too busy being this and I'm having a good time. I'm sorry. I'm having a ball. I got all of this authority and ability to manifest. I'm too busy focused on manifesting what I want to experience. See, now I'm not just surviving. Mm-mm. I'm not getting by. I'm thriving. I'm having fun. I'm not scared of nothing. See, fear requires energy. And in the course of a day, I am unlimited energy. But if I don't practice in my living every day, then that energy is not going to flow because you haven't flexed no muscle. You haven't built the muscle to get that energy to flow. But once you live in the truth every day, then that energy starts to flow. Okay? And once that energy starts flowing, you have no time to get bogged down in paranoia, fear, and terror, anxiety, depression, all of these things that are very strange to me because I've been doing this for 45 years. I honestly cannot tell you a time when I've been depressed because I've been so fascinated by life and existence. I wish I could give you this awareness, this understanding that leaves you with only one thing and one thing only, an absolute total fascination at the discovery of that which you do not know, backed by power of what you know you're capable of doing, but have not yet manifested it. That's the unknowing that I'm discovering every day. What else can I do that I didn't realize I could do yesterday? What else? How closer am I getting to accomplishing getting my Tesla and all the steps? And I'm having a ball. Getting up every morning, meditating, playing the video, creating the video of the Tesla so I can have my visualizations, see myself hitting the lottery. I'm fascinated. And every day I want to get better at doing that. So I'm on this mission and I'm so tied up. My mind is so tied up. My mind space, all my visions, and doing these videos for you and editing them and making sure all the books and the imagery that comes up and explaining you about Eckhart Tolle and how he will free you of all of the stuff that Dianetics is going to explain to you, and PTSS that the sister DeGray is going to teach you and talk to you about, the trauma that brother Tommy is going to be explaining to you. It's so much. I can't remember all the names, but there's so much to do. There's so much fun to be had. And I'm so busy enjoying all of this because now I don't have to go work for nobody else. I've paid my dues. I've played by the rules. I've done what I was supposed to do. I've been learning from cradle to grave. And I've taken that knowledge and wisdom and applied it in a way where now I'm moving into the stock market. I'm using knowledge and facts and analysis to almost guarantee that I'm going to buy and purchase into stocks that's going to almost guarantee me passive income. I'm working my plan. I've already planned my work. I'm now working my plan. And that's what I want you to do, is to develop your plan. And forget about all this white supremacy and all that paranoid nonsense and that damn stupid Bible. So you're wasting time. It doesn't exist. None of it is real. You are real. God having a human experience is the realest thing that exists in your world. And that we're talking about, I'm exposing you to right now, is so real and so essential to what you are. You will never die. And that will always be. And I don't care what nobody else says. That is, I defy anybody to come to me. And I'll eat them alive. Because this is essential, immutable, which means can never be changed, truth of existence. And that's what my book is all about. Explaining to you the anatomy of this existence. Why? Why do you need to understand the anatomy and the components of existence? So you can get about the business of manifesting and creating stuff. That's what you're here to do, and to pursue your mission that is ordained by God. And you can confirm it by your abilities. Do you have an imagination? Can you use your visual skills to create vision? Can you see an apple red with a light on top of it, turning right, stopping, turning back left? It's just me saying that. If you can see that in your mind, that validates it's real. That's what you're here to do. Use that very skill combined with emotion and repetition to make manifest anything you want in this world. That's what you were brought here to do. Does God create things? Absolutely. How? Through you. Through your use of your imagination and your beliefs and your feelings repeatedly to get whatever you want. And whatever you do is ordained by God. God is not going to make that decision for you. God gave the decision power to you. That's what this is all about. That's what this is all about. And you will never die because of that very fact. Because that's what God wants. And God is almighty. Never dies. And you can't box with God. Whatever God wants will be. It's not a request, by the way. And I've said this in my other videos. This is not a request. This is an order. You will do this one way or another. And believe me, God don't care. Don't have to care. So big and so mighty. You got to understand that. If people tell you God doesn't exist, listen, listen, do what you want to do. But I'm telling you where my power comes from. Because that's the one belief. Well, I believe a lot of things. But that belief is the belief that powers everything that I do. And I have no doubt about that. And I also have no doubt in my next life, this is way beyond a single life. This kind of knowledge and wisdom is going to come right back again in my next life. And I know that without any doubt at all. Okay, and that's what I want for you. I want you to function from a position of wisdom. and complete and total understanding, which is beyond hope. Okay? Hope is for beginners, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you become a Jedi and you're about the business of becoming a better Jedi, a better master, because you never stop growing. You are here to be better at all times, 24/7, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, non-stop, cradle to grave, till the day this vehicle ceases to working, and bam, you'll be right back at it again, reborn as another child, start all over again. That's the anatomy of existence. And that's what you are and what you will always be. And I defy anybody to prove me wrong. Bring it. I invite you. And this is not about fear. This is not a threat. This is just an invitation. I'm not afraid, and I don't want you to be afraid either, because this is not about fear. This is about love. This is about reality. And this is where I want you to function from. Okay, family? To know truth is to live truth. To know truth is to live truth. To know truth is to live truth. One love, family, and I'll see you in the next movie.